All right, thanks, Brian, and welcome everyone to this June 26, 2023 meeting of the Homewood City Council. We don't have any proclamations tonight, so I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're going to start tonight with an invocation from Ms. Salter, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
Okay. If you bow your heads, I thought that since we weren't going to meet again before July 4th, that I would say a Independence Day prayer. So bow your head, please. On this Independence Day, let us be reminded, Lord, of all those who have sacrificed for our freedom, following the example of your Son, Jesus Christ. Let us not take our freedom, both physical and spiritual, for granted. May we always remember that a very high price was paid for our freedom, and our freedom cost others their lives. Help us to live our lives in a way that glorifies you, Lord. Give us the strength to be a blessing in someone's life today, and grant us the opportunity to lead others into the freedom that can be found in knowing Jesus. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Everyone will face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Salter.
Sure.
And if you will also please call roll.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gwaltney?
Here.
Counselor Gear?
Here.
Counselor Allamon? Counselor Wolverton? Counselor Sims?
Here.
Counselor Jones? Counselor Smith? Here. Counselor Nelms?
Here.
Counselor Andrus?
Here.
Counselor Harden?
Here.
And President Wyatt.
Here.
You got 3 absent, but you still got a quorum.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the reading of the minutes. We've got 2 sets of minutes that were distributed. The first were from our council meeting of June 12, 2023. I would entertain a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of those minutes and for approval of the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved 8-0. We also have from our council work session of June 12, 2023. I would entertain a similar motion for those.
So moved.
Or second.
Motion from Mr. Gwaltney, second from Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are also approved 8-0. Next, we have board vacancies. We'll start with the at-large beautification board position that closed today. We had 1 applicant for that, Nancy Walburn.
I was going to ask you, was she at large or Ward 3? I was confused.
She lives in, I think she lives in Ward 4, doesn't she?
I don't know.
I believe both applicants are Ward 3. But we know specifically that the one applicant applied for Ward 3 because they stated it in their interest. So we can, I'm good with nominating Nancy Walburn for the at-large beautification board position.
All right. So we have a nomination for Ms. Walburn. Do we have a second? All right, second from Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 8-0. We also had a Ward 3 beautification board that closed today, and Deidre Mason reapplied for that. I believe, did you say she was already?
It was Rosa Hill.
Nancy is actually who reapplied.
Oh, I'm
to
sorry.
be
Okay.
reappointed, and then Deidre Mason is going to be a new appointee.
Got it. But she's the one that applied specifically for the Ward 3
Yes, sir.
position.
She is.
Got it.
And I believe, as I said, I believe both candidates are Ward 3, but
Okay.
this works though, since the other position's at large.
All right. So is that a nomination for Ms.
Yes,
Mason?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Mason, please.
All right. Do we have a second? Second from Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 8-0 as well. Then we'll move to the library board. We've got a Ward 1 library board position that closed today. We had 1 applicant for that, and that was Rosa Hill.
She's the incumbent too, sir.
And so is applicable for, or can have 1 more term. Ward 1, would y'all like to nominate?
We would.
All right, so we have a nomination for Ms. Gear and a second for Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is also 8-0. Lastly, we have a Ward 5 abatement board position. We have 1 applicant for that, Alan Stam?
Dr.
Yes, sir.
Stam.
Dr. Stam.
Yep.
Is that your nomination?
That is my nomination.
All right. All right, and second for Mr. Harden. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 8-0.
I'll let everybody know.
Thank you.
Melody.
All right, Then we have, just as a reminder, we have a Ward 3 Historic Preservation position that is open, that will be closing on July 17th. And then we need to open, Ms. Salter, what is this?
I'm sorry, it's the Arts Council.
Got it, okay. Open an at-large position for the Arts Council. We will go ahead and open that and leave it open until July 17th at 4:30 PM.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Now we have our additions to the agenda, and since we had committees earlier today, there are quite a few of them. So first, the additions to old business. 250417, request for consideration of 18th Street revitalization project. This has to do with the Valley intersection. That item has also remained in committee. Next, 060523, a bid opening set for June 5, 2023 at 4:45 PM for a paving project.
We actually already had that one, but they were just making a decision about it.
Got it. All right, next, 010623, request to amend the contract with CB&A Construction LLC for Delcris Drive sidewalk project. Then 020623, request permission to add senior engineer inspector position. 030623, request to authorize the mayor to sign an ADEM grant application for stormwater funding. 040623, request to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement for Vulcan Park for Thunder on the Mountain. 060623, request for permission to close Oxmoor Road and detour traffic for a Birmingham Waterworks main line tap. 090623, request for nomination from ALDOR Board of Equalization. 140523, public hearing set for June 12, 2023 at 6 PM for consideration of sign variance at 2724 18th Street South. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this. That's going to consent. That item and the next two items are going to consent. 050623, request to amend fiscal year 22-23 budgets. 210422, request for presentation for proposed city manager study. And then we have two items that will be added to the committee referral agenda. First is 190623, request for consideration to authorize the mayor to sign a contract for garbage services brought to us by Berkeley Squires, and that will go to finance. Second, 200623, request for consideration of a potential city manager position brought to us by Mayor McCluskey, and that will also go to finance. And with that, Ms. Salter, did I catch everything?
That's what I had, sir.
All right. All right, so with that, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the amended agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion for Mr. Gwaltney, second for Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 8-0, which brings us to the consent agenda, the amended consent agenda. I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the amended consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also approved 8-0, which brings us to our old business agenda. First item, 250417, request for consideration of 18th Street revitalization project. And we will start with a report from Finance. Ms. Smith.
Yes, we were met in committee before this meeting, and Cale gave us an update that we are going to have our contractor who is working on our 18th Street project replace the 3 Birmingham parts of the intersection at Valley Avenue, since we're already out there doing the work, and we have signed an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Birmingham that our contractor will do the work, and then we will be reimbursed by the city of Birmingham. And I believe that cost is about $350,000. Is that right, Cale? $325,000 to do those. Oh yeah, it says it right here. Sorry, can't read apparently. So we'll do that work. Our contractor will do that work, and then the city of Birmingham will reimburse us for that cost.
All right. And Mr. Kendrick, this is an ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's an ordinance to provide for an interlocal cooperative agreement between the city of Birmingham and the city of Homewood. Whereas Birmingham and Homewood desire to enter into an interlocal cooperative agreement that will benefit both cities. Whereas Birmingham and Homewood desire to enter into an agreement for the public purpose of making certain improvements to the intersection of Valley Avenue and 21st Avenue South and Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard and 18th Street South for the replacement of wooden signal poles at the intersection which are sinking and causing traffic signals to fall below the required height, and replacing wooden poles with metal poles located on a portion of the right-of-way on Valley Avenue and Richard Arrington Boulevard. And whereas this agreement is entered into pursuant to section 11-102-2 of the Code of Alabama, now therefore be it ordained that the mayor is authorized to enter into the interlocal cooperative government agreement with the city of Birmingham, a copy of which is attached as Exhibit A. Section 2, the severability, the any provisions declared to be unconstitutional are invalid by court of competent jurisdiction. All of the provisions remain in full force and effect. In section 6, the ordinance be published as provided by law.
All right, thank you very much. I'd entertain a motion and a second for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms. Ms. Salter, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Gwaltney,
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor Gear,
Yes.
Counselor Sims,
Yes.
Counselor Smith,
Yes.
Counselor Nelms,
Yes.
Counselor Andrus.
Yes.
Counselor Harden.
Yes.
And President Wyatt.
Yes. All right, so now I'd entertain a motion and a second for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Andrus, and another roll call vote, please, Ms. Salter.
Counselor Gwaltney,
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor Gear,
Yes.
Counselor Sims,
Yes.
Counselor Smith,
Yes.
Counselor Nelms,
Yes.
Counselor Andrus,
Yes.
Counselor Harden,
Yes.
and President Wyatt. That's
Yes.
2869.
All right, so that is 8-0 and ordinance 2869. Next item is 060523, bid opening set for June 5, 2023 at 4:45 PM for paving project brought to us by Berkeley Squires, and a report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, Mr. Squires asked us to reject all the bids, and he is going to go back to the drawing board with that paving list and make some edits. And then we will be probably rebidding this when we have those changes made to the list. So that motion came out of Finance with a vote of 3-0, with Mr. Harden as making the motion and Mr. Gwaltney the second, and that is to reject all the bids that we received.
Mr. Kendrick, do we need a resolution to do
No,
that?
sir, just a motion to reject the bids.
All right, so we have a motion from Finance to reject the bids. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 8-0. All right, next item, 010623, request to amend the contract with CB&A Construction LLC for Delcus Drive Sidewalk Project Phase 1, and another report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, the committee met and heard from Cale, Mr. Smith, about the project. The project is actually finished, and there were some changes that had to be made throughout the project. So packaged those all together for a total of $14,206 in change orders. And so we are, the committee voted to approving those change order costs, and Mr. Gwaltney made the motion, Mr. Harden seconded. It was a vote of 3-0.
All right, so we have a motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 8-0 and will be Resolution 2381. Next item, 020623, request for permission to add Senior Engineer Inspector position, brought to us by Cale Smith, and another report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, the committee met before this meeting and voted to approve adding the senior engineering inspector position. And we wanted to do this now in order to start the process with the personnel board. And it sometimes can take a while to get those things worked out, so we wanted to go ahead and get a jump on that. So we voted 3-0 with Mr. Harden making the motion and Mr. Gwaltney seconded to approve this.
All right, so we have another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 8-0 and will be Resolution 2382. Next item, 030623, request to authorize the mayor to sign an ADEM grant application for stormwater funding, also brought to us by Cale Smith, and another report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, this is a grant from ADEM for about $150,000 in funds to apply to a stormwater plan, and that we have identified a part of that plan that Kimley Horn worked on for us that will affect Kenilworth Drive and Ridge, where they come together with some new piping to take the stormwater off that intersection and take it from going all the way down the hill on Kenilworth. Mr. Gwaltney made the motion to approve. Mr. Harden seconded, and it was a 3-0 vote to approve.
All right, thank you very much. This is also a motion from finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 8-0 and will be resolution 2383. Next item, 040623, request to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Vulcan Park for Thunder on the Mountain, brought to us by J.J. Bischoff. And another report from Finance, Ms. Smith.
Yes, we voted and voted to approve spending $10,000 from the advertising line item, which is 01-11-570-500, to support the Thunder on the Mountain fireworks display. Mr. Gwaltney made the motion. Mr. Harden seconded. It was a 3-0 vote.
All right, thank you very much. Another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 8-0 and will be resolution 2384. Next item, 060623, request for permission to close Oxmoor Road and detour traffic for a Birmingham Waterworks mainline tap, brought to us by Birmingham Waterworks and Cale Smith. And we'll start with a report from Public Safety. Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The committee met this evening, and after a good discussion with the Birmingham Waterworks representative, we voted to approve this item 3-0 with the motion from Mrs. Nelms and second by Councilor Harden.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion from Public Safety. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 8-0 and will be resolution 2385. Next item, 080623, request for permission to work in the right-of-way at 2844 18th Street South. Hang on a second. Yeah, that item is not on the agenda tonight. That's my bad.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's my, I marked it out the other spot, but I didn't mark it out that one. All right, next item, 090623, request for nomination for ALDOR Board of Equalization, brought to us by Robert Brigette and Melody Salter, and a report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, we met in special issues and voted to nominate Margie, I think it's Margie, not Marty. Margie George to serve on the Board of Equalization. Ms. Andrus made that nomination and Ms. Gear seconded, and that was a 4-0 vote to approve that
All right.
nomination.
So we have a motion from Special Issues. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is also 8-0 and will be resolution 2386. Give me just a second. All right, next item, 110623, public hearing set for July 10, 2023 at 6 p.m. for consideration to approve a final development plan for 169 and 173 Oxmoor Road. The applicant is Under Vulcan LLC, who's also the owner, for the proposed redevelopment of an existing two-story office building as the site for a new mixed-use development comprising a combination of retail, restaurant uses on the ground floor and office space on the second floor, as well as appropriate parking, landscaping, and other site improvements. This comes to us from the Planning Commission with a vote of 6-0 favorable recommendation. So we will carry that item over for our public hearing, which will be a specially called meeting on July 10, 2023 at 6 p.m. All right, that brings us to the end of old business and to our amended committee referral agenda. I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the amended committee referral agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harden, second by Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 8-0, which brings us to other new business. First item, 170623, request to change the dates of the regularly scheduled council meetings in July due to the July 4th holiday. This is my item, just to sort of give everyone the dates for meetings. We will not meet on July 3rd. On July 10th, we will have committees, and we will have a specially called council meeting for one item, 110623, which is the public hearing for that West Homewood development. And that's simply because that public hearing has already been noticed. Then on the 17th, we will have a full council meeting. On the 24th, we'll do committees, and on the 31st, we'll do another our second full council meeting for July.
Is that special called council, did you say that was gonna be at 5?
It's 6.
6?
Yeah, it's already been noticed for 6.
Oh, that's right, because the council, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion, a second for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harden, second by Ms. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that's 8-0, and will be resolution 2387. All right.
Wyatt,
Yeah.
we had a lot of extra time tonight, we got here at 4. What are you thinking for 10, time-wise?
There's only, it looks like we only have to have finance and public safety.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, and Public Works has two items that were carried over.
Special issues has nothing.
So, yeah,
Oh, planning and development carried over too.
yeah, carried over the item for the church, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the
So-
easement.
Yeah, so, no, we'll start at 5 o'clock. If we have to take a break to do the hope will be that we finish in an hour. If not, we'll take a break to do the specially called meeting and then complete committees, but we won't start early.
President Wyatt?
Yeah.
So back to July again real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing we're doing council on the 10th,
Yeah, so I'll go back over it. So on the 10th, we're going to do committees.
right,
And then we're going to do the specially called meeting just for that one item that's already been, the public hearing's already been noticed.
right,
Then on the 17th, we'll do a full council meeting.
right?
On the 24th, we'll do committees. And on the 31st, we'll do a full council meeting.
Okay, so 3 councils, but 1 just for that item.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the
Thank you.
council this time is like on the 3rd and 5th, when they're usually the 2nd and 4th.
thank you. I was thinking about that.
I'll make sure I send you our calendar invites.
All right, so the last item tonight, 180623, request for consideration of approval of vouchers for the period of June 13, 2023 through June 26, 2023, brought to us by Rob Regett and Melody Salter. And Ms. Smith?
Yes, I might as well get used to this because it's getting ready to be my turn. So Walter looked at the vouchers, and he said there were a couple of late ads and a couple of questions, but he got everything answered, and he wanted to move to approve said vouchers from the period you mentioned. So that would be my motion.
All right, so we have a motion from Ms. Smith. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second from Ms. Gear? That's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 8-0, and will be resolution 2388. Which brings us to the end of the agenda. Mr. Mayor?
Just a couple of
Oh,
things.
I'm sorry, real quick beforehand, I just realized I messed something up. I apologize before we get past it. Mr. Gwaltney left. That was actually a vote of 7-0.
Did he just leave a second ago?
He did. He did not vote on that. So that's 7-0, and will
Gotcha.
be resolution 2388.
Thank you, they slipped out.
He snuck out behind you, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even know he was gone.
Sorry.
They slip out behind me and I don't see them, or they slip in. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. First of all, thank you guys for approving the senior engineering inspector position. That's something that has been desperately needed for a while. You can see it on Cale's face. But simply, we have a lot going on in Homewood, as you all know, and that position, even though it was unorthodox for us to create a position in the middle of a budget year, I appreciate you guys doing that for his sake and for his department's sake. And then I hope to see everybody at the 4th of July festivities on Tuesday. Got a bunch of street things going on, and of course Thunder on the Mountain at the end of the night. So, and thanks to all the police officers and firefighters who have to work that event, trying to get everybody in and out of Homewood in a couple of hours is pretty difficult. So thank them. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gear?
I don't have any announcements, but I won't be here for the 4th. Everybody have a good week. I'm going to be moving my daughter to Asheville, North Carolina, and hanging out up there for a few days. So have a good week, everybody.
Was he needing to set public safety or no?
You guys have items.
Yeah, so we'll set. So we'll do public safety, set it after finance.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Sims?
All right, I don't have anything, but I did chair Public Works this evening, so I'd also like to set Public Works for after planning and development.
All right.
Planning
Thank you.
development or public safety?
After, after public safety.
But planning and development needs to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
usually
she
go.
hadn't said it yet.
we go. So
Well, then I defer.
Yeah, because I did get that one time, I did jump
I think he
on.
was trying to pay her back.
When Andrew's not here, I usually jump in front of him. It's okay, you can set it. I'm not gonna be here. Andy's chairing, so I don't care when you meet.
So what,
After Public Works, Public Safety.
Okay. So we got finance, public safety, public works.
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
No reports, I will, no, I
Take that back. For those of you who have noticed that it might be cool in here, we did successfully complete the installation of the chiller that we had been waiting on for 9 months. It was quite a production. I was out here at 6:30 in the morning putting flyers on people's cars, telling them they needed to move to make sure that they were not in the way of the 500-ton crane. But it all got done in the time that it was supposed to get done. They're still tweaking the internal systems for the chiller, but I think we are going to see drastically improved, I'm hoping, electricity bills for this building with the addition of the new chiller, which is much more efficient, much more quiet. I hope the neighbors will notice that. So I'm just thankful for all the work that Berkeley did, and the guys at Train and the guys at Crane Works. It was a whole thing. So I'm just very grateful for all of the help, and the police department. We had officers out helping get the crane in so that traffic wouldn't be an issue. So for all the people who coordinated to make that happen, I'm very thankful. And I just wanted to say that I'm thinking about Berkeley and Gina, because that they're having some issues, and I'm hoping that she is going to be well and able to go home from the hospital soon. So just thinking about them.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nelms?
I don't have anything, nothing to report out or set, so good.
Thank you. Ms. Andrus?
So I will set P&D. Councilor Gwaltney has agreed to chair that for me. I did want to let everyone know that the Jefferson County Council Coalition will be here on Friday, meeting at City Hall at 11:30 for lunch. If anyone wants to join us, feel free to join us. It'll be 11:30 next door in our room here. And Councilor Sims and Mr. Smith and I just got back from Boston, where we attended a conference on walkability from the fabulous Jeff Speck. We also met a city manager from Watertown and went on tours of the areas to learn about how to improve walkability and congestion and on-street parking. And it was just, it was just incredible. It was such a great experience. And I want to thank the Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham for having us. And we had counterparts from the city of Birmingham that were there, from the Housing Authority, from REV. So it was really a great group, and we've already talked about getting together to debrief and work together on projects, and it was just a really, Jeff Speck is unreal. I could listen to him for days on end. He's so fascinating. So anyway, I just want to thank the Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham for that.
So you did set P&D for after public works?
Yes.
We're not having special issues? Okay.
That's it.
All right, Mr. Harden?
I did come by here Friday morning when they were putting that crane together, and I couldn't figure out why is that so hard? Oh my gosh. It was huge, and I guess they had to put a bunch of counterweights on it. Is that what they were doing?
Yeah.
I was like, this is, I thought, oh, they don't have to put together a crane. That's easy. No, it's quite a production. So that's happy 4th of July to everybody.
Yeah, it takes a pretty big crane to put together a crane. Right. So, all right, I don't have anything either. Just happy 4th of July to everybody, and we'll see everyone back here in a few weeks.